Hey guys, what's going on? Chris here with Shughead Gaming, and welcome to my review for The Walker, developed by Haymaker Games and released July 3rd in North America and July 6th in Europe, for an estimated retail price of $22, of course depending on your region. The Walker is a Chinese horror spin on a well-worn genre, the first-person wave shooter. Here, the twist is that you're fighting your way through Shanghai, China, which for some reason is filled with zombies that can be dispatched with either a sword or a gun. As your character is an exorcist, you can use magical talismans to add elemental powers to your weapons. If you watch my channel, then you know I'm a sucker for a good wave shooter. Let's see if this fits the bill. As always guys, if you like this video, hit that like button, and if you want to see more PSVR content from me, you know the deal, please consider subscribing, and for updates, hit that bell icon. As always, graphics are up first. The Walker strives to go for a grounded, realistic horror setting, and unfortunately it misses more than it hits. Most textures look blurry, muddy, and when off in a distance, they look jagged. Many set pieces and graphic assets look as though they've just been placed in the world by a graphic artist, with no real sense of actually existing and blended into the world. This is due mainly to an overall lack of polish that the Walker so desperately needs. Lighting and shadow effects are a bit hit or miss, and particle effects, while present, are used very rarely. All this combined gives the game an unfinished and raw appearance. Unfortunately, even gun models come off as low-res and blurry, even when looking at them up close. Character models and animations are actually done okay, and while they aren't bursting with personality, they move well and believably. That being said, your character's hands are placed in weird positions in the world, and your player height is too low, with no ability to adjust that. Ultimately, the Walker should be commended for attempting to make a realistic looking game in VR, as so many developers opt to go for the graphically easier route of a more cartoon or cel-shaded look. That being said, the game still comes off as a budget title and unpolished, and it just isn't that great to look at. And that brings us to sound. Let's just say The Walker is definitely not a masterpiece in the sound department. If I had to choose one word to describe the entire sound package here, it would be mediocre. Gun sounds and other weapon sounds come off as adequate, but lack any punch or dynamics, and ultimately they sound generic and boring. Voice acting is in Chinese, but is actually done fairly well for what it is. Otherworld sounds, again, sound like they were purchased from the discount bulk store of Asian horror movies. Laughing and crying little girls? Check. Screaming witch voice? Check. Nothing here really comes off as very scary because it just sounds so derivative and tame. The overall sound package is also not helped by the extremely benign sound mix that lacks any dynamics, surprises, or even 3D audio cues in its final production mix. All in all, sound was not very strong here. Gameplay's up next. Well, The Walker is definitely a paint-by-numbers wave shooter. Rumors were thrown around that this was developed by a great small developer and that the game itself had essences of the Dark Souls series. Well, let me confirm, this is nothing special, and you have done this many times before and much better. You get one gun, you get one sword, and that's it. You have 5 levels with 3 difficulties, and after each difficulty level, you get a slightly better version of the same gun and sword. To mix things up, you get 2 talisman spells for which you can use these to add elemental powers to your gun or your sword. As you kill minions, you charge up these talismans, charge them up, and you can either add a freeze or electric ability to your weapons. And guys, that's the game. You reload by shaking your hand, there's no dual wielding, it's not very hard, and it's actually pretty boring, making even my recent replay of Bravo Team look absolutely exciting in comparison. The game can be played with either the DualShock or 2 move controllers, and sitting or standing should be fine. You'll need a little bit of room though for movement, so standing might be recommended as there is some dodging and blocking of fireballs from time to time. All turning is done through 45-degree click turning, and you spend the entire game standing in place, so motion sickness should be at a minimum. The game can be beat in about 60 minutes-ish, with replay value existing in repeat playthroughs on higher difficulties. And that finally brings us to fun factor and my final verdict. Yeah, this game isn't a lot of fun. It doesn't look super great or sound super great. Even the hand tracking, while adequate, is like the rest of the game, unpolished and done better in other games. As you know, I hate the number ratings and instead rate games on a scale of buy, wait for a sale, or burn it to the ground. This game is a definite wait for a sale, and borderline burn it to the ground. It's kind of a shit game, and that it's only slightly better than the craptastic Wraith from a few weeks back. But instead of just being over $10 like Wraith, this game wants over $20 to exist on your hard drive. If you want to play this game, wait until it drops below $10, and even then, keep your expectations in check. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you want to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing. And for updates, hit that bell icon. Guys, I got a few more reviews coming this week, so stay tuned for my next video.